Welcome to the first episode of When Life Calls, hosted by your girl Annie. When life calls, whether it be heartbreak or love, degrees or adulting, we got an answer. We cover it all here. On today's episode, I bring on Zeph to discuss her road to obtaining her master's in physics after her adventures as a high school teacher and a rep for Sony Records. Grab your wine or coffee and let's get into it. Welcome to our first episode ever. This podcast is called When Life Calls, and we're going to be talking about adulting, being a professional woman, basically growing into your own self, and the journey from a med student's perspective, plus my friends and any great person who I feel like can contribute to my life and y'all's. Today we have the infamous... One day,
I'm like, I'm not there yet.
One day, but we're manifesting it.
Yes.
Infamous. Say your name, introduce yourself, Instagram, everything. Just.
Okay, hey y'all, my name is Zeph Kathy. You can find me on Instagram at ITSYEMO. I don't know why I just did that, but it just goes with it. Yeah, that's my Instagram handle. I think that's the only form of social media that I'm really like.
Oh, you're only on Instagram?
Yeah.
What?
I am.
Is it just opposed, like, are you opposed to like Twitter, or are you just...
I just don't think I ever figured out how Twitter works.
Yeah, that's how I felt about Twitter.
Yeah.
I had a Twitter when I thought, like, that was the first social media I had. But
my first social media was definitely Facebook, and I still have a Facebook, but it's really only for like
the parents.
Yeah,
you know,
keeping up with
the people who want to say the aunties, the uncles. That's what Facebook is for.
Definitely.
Actually, my Instagram is supposed to be connected to my Facebook, but because like the baddie pictures cannot be posted.
Yes, the baddie picture.
I take my time to make sure I deselect Facebook every post.
Yep. I feel that.
Yeah. Anyway, so for every podcast, we're gonna start like I've gotten this from one of my favorite podcasts, the Love Hour by Mrs. Kev on Stage. She starts off with like a this or that, basically like comparison, like just a a mood. I don't know how to explain it, but basically it's just like make you comfortable and kind of just like start off with a lightened mood, before we get into the topic. Okay, so I made the first this or that based on the events that transpired yesterday with Mark Zuckerberg losing 7 million and us losing Facebook, us losing Instagram, and what was it? WhatsApp.
Girl.
The way I didn't even notice.
Do you know what? I was so vexed because you know why I was vexed?
Why?
I have not posted a good picture in such a long time.
Oh my god, yes!
And the day I post my baddie pic,
Instagram's down.
You guys should check out that picture I posted from October 4th.
Fire.
It was I think it was a good
great.
picture. And I don't like to toot my own horn, but it was a cute picture.
It was very good.
And I'm just saying, I feel like the amount of likes that I could have gotten on it.
Oh, really?
Because of the whole, I don't know, I was like, wow, the day, that's actually enemies of progress out there.
Sis, don't worry, I reposted it, but
But it's okay.
Yeah. Look, let me tell you, my like to following ratio is horrible. Like the most I will get is 200 likes if it's a really good picture, but I literally have 1,000 followers.
It doesn't make sense to me because I actually updated my profile and I can see how many people like see it and interact with it and share it.
Is that like a business profile?
Yeah, okay. I switched to that recently so I can see the insights, and I had like over 1,000 like insights or whatever.
People see it,
seeing it, and then I had like people like 40 people sharing it and all this other stuff. Yeah, so I'm like
2 people, me and my sister, when we repost each other. Like, that's it. That must be nice to be famous.
No, but it only had like 200 likes, so I'm like something's not adding up.
The post from yesterday only had 200 likes.
Yeah,
that's the worst part. You can't now like go back and repost it or it's annoying.
But it's okay. Honestly, I think like a long time ago I had to tell myself not to put too much value
on those things.
That's like true. I know it's a cute picture and like the comments that I got in the DMs, they boosted my day, and that's all I needed.
See that you reposted on your story.
Because I was happy about it. I'm like, I don't need 1,000 followers. It's fine.
Anyway, so my question was, and is this microphone in my face? I feel like it is. But okay, so the question was for you okay. So with all the apps, most of the apps being shut down, let's say hypothetically every single form of like social media shut down yesterday, right? Would you rather have a life or a world where like you had no social media, like there was no social media, but you could only interact with people, you know, in real life. So like in social settings, your work, parties, all that. But all your socializing and your interacting with people made you very successful, and you were a successful billionaire or whatever. Or would you rather live in a world where you have, not only were you successful, but also in exchange for social media being deactivated and everything, someone magically came and gave you a cure to COVID. So all COVID is gone. There's no more COVID, so you're interacting, like you're back to interacting as normal, right? And also that interaction made you successful, right? Or would you rather live in a world where you have access to all your social medias and everything, and your online growth and everything, you know, made you successful. However, there was never ever a cure to COVID, and this pandemic state was how we lived in forever. But nobody died, like, so in my hypothetical situation, nobody dies anymore from COVID, but we just, for safety measures, stay in this like pandemic mode forever. But you have access to all social media, and you're growing, you know, you're doing just as well as you would in the opposite scenario. What would you rather?
I mean, I think this is kind of a no-brainer. I don't think I would do the social media world, just because I've done without social media and it was fine. The only reason why I'm on it now is just to like stay current with like what's going on. But I actually really do like finding people organically. Like we met organically, like in the lab.
Yeah, we did.
And like a bunch of my other friends that I can like text and be like, hey, just like thinking about you, hope everything's okay. Like I met them organically too. So I don't think, you know, I've met some people on social media, but a lot of the girls that I've met on social media, like I don't hang out with them in person. We just like comment on each other's pictures. It's not like a real relationship. And personally, a lot of like, I can't really like attribute much of my success to social media as of right now. So I think it would be okay if I didn't have social media. I mean, I use it to check in on long lost friends and family members every now and then just to see how it's, and it's nice. But honestly, like without social media, that would like force me to text them and call them more. So that's probably
plan trips and see them and stuff like that, because you know, like, oh, I can't just FaceTime. Oh, in the world, I said no social media. I guess you would still have FaceTime.
Yeah.
But then if somebody doesn't have an Apple phone, there would be
that's just like, a problem. Just get an Apple phone. Like it's 2021. What are you doing?
Like, no, for real though.
Are we really family if you don't have
That's true.
Apple? Like,
no, like even Apple like did a pity update where like now you can now FaceTime with Androids and stuff like that. And I was just like, please, if my phone starts glitching and twitching while I'm FaceTiming you, like. But no, honestly, I guess I feel the same way. I guess the only reason I made that scenario is because some people do struggle making friends in real life, you know, and some people have found social media as like their outlet. Yeah, so some people, like a lot of YouTubers or even like TikTokers now, because TikTok is more accessible to people, have said like, you know, in school they had a rough time making friends, or it was just a lot of like fake, you know, not fitting in and fake people around you and stuff like that. Or people who have strict parents like me, like you might not be able to keep up with the social, you know, events and the social like status that you have to maintain if you want to be quote unquote, even not even popular, just to even have friends, like a friend group. Like you miss one event and it's like boom, everybody in the friend group is closer. Like how? Because I missed one party. It's like that night just brought us like closer. Like we all just went out after the event and like we just all became closer. Really, that one time I missed, and that was my story like growing up. So I can see how like some people who you know, found social media or like their humor or anything that made them famous on social media has made them more connected to that. I don't know, it's for me, I definitely would pick the in-person interaction. But I can also see why someone would rather, you know, because a lot of people didn't even want to go back to school, you know, with the pandemic coming to an end, kind of. Nobody, like people were like, yeah, I kind of missed being in my house 24/7. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't relate to that because I've never been.
I can't relate.
No, I'm saying like I've never been famous off of like Instagram or Vine or whatever, and had followers to like be able to tell my secrets to. It's always just been like my actual friends or my family or something like that. So
the dog is coming closer. What's going on?
My dog is here and she's very afraid of her.
Scared.
She's a Doberman Pinscher. Kimber, sit.
She's very
down.
Big.
Sit. All right.
It's the eyes for me. Like, it's the calm, sad eyes.
The brows are like, they look like she's raising them, but that's just the fur color right there. So she's not actually like, she's not actually doing that. It's just like the color. Kimber,
slow
down.
I don't want to get to that. Okay. So thank you for the intro. Sorry that was kind of long, but you know, we had to set the tone, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, so basically, for anybody who doesn't know Zeph, which most of you guys probably don't, because I just met her myself.
I'm really not famous, y'all.
No, but that's the thing, though.
It's all good. I don't want to be, actually.
Well, it's not about being famous. It's about being successful. And like,
yeah, exactly.
And the road to getting there. It's the journey. So I think it's cool because we can one day look back at this, and when we are, you know, successful and like reach some of the goals that we have for ourselves right now, and be like, oh, I remember when we were talking about manifesting them, you know, and now we manifested. So yeah, so I met Seth at Vanderbilt during my summer research program, and my research was because of a requirement from my school, for my medical program. But she's actually looking to go into research full time, right? Or at least incorporate it with your
thesis.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't understand research, but I respect it. So that's how I met her. She was working in the lab we were working in the same lab, but with different PIs. So, I mean, right? Are they called two different labs, or how do you?
Yeah, I guess technically they're two different labs because we have two different PIs. But the place was the same.
But the place was the same.
We utilized the same
resources, all that stuff. And but what struck me so fascinating about Zeph was the fact that, like, when I spoke to her, she talked about how she's done music. Like, she went into a whole different career path before. And it's crazy because I don't really see science people integrating, like, any other creative side until maybe way later in life. Or maybe it's something they did in high school, but once they got to college, they kind of dropped it. But she, after college, went and started working for Sony Records, right? And I think that was so cool because if you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys know I'm really interested in music, and that's been one of my biggest passions. So we kind of spoke about that, and like being inquisitive, I kept on asking her more and more questions, and then from there, we kind of established a relationship and a friendship. But I kind of wanted to share that story with you guys to kind of inspire other people who may have multiple passions in two different like sectors, totally, you know. And okay, just talk a little bit, walk through your journey from like graduation day in college to telling your parents, like just talk about what happened. And
yeah, so graduated from college. So in college I was also a scientist, very much on that path. I majored in physics, I minored in math, and then also I minored in African and Black diaspora studies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was really, really awesome. I really loved those classes. And then actually when I was in college, I worked for Sony as a college marketing rep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I worked for them while I was living in Chicago, and then I continued to work for them. I moved to New York, and yeah, that was a great experience.
Wait, pause real quick, sorry. How did you even like, did you just wake up one day and be like, I want to work for Sony? Like, or did they reach out to you, or did you go to a concert? Like, how did it even?
So somebody posted it on Instagram, actually.
Like an application?
It was like, they were looking, when I was in college, they were looking for like college reps in Chicago. And I lived in Chicago, and somebody posted it, and I was like, oh. So I submitted an application. So, okay, let me rewind. So you might be like, why would you submit an application if you were like into science? Yeah, a student. So when I was in college, I used to like perform spoken word and like,
I did see that.
all of that. So I would perform spoken word at different open mics, and I would sometimes sing a little bit, and I kind of just got into songwriting, and I would write songs for other like local Chicago folks and, you know, people. I just really got into all of that. And I would perform every Monday at this open mic at DePaul. I went to DePaul University.
Shout out.
Shout out Blue Demons.
Okay.
And yeah, so it was called Soulful, y'all. Oh my God, Soulful. If any of y'all have been to Soulful, and I say this because it wasn't really just a DePaul thing. Like we had people from the whole city of Chicago show up to this. It was a very successful open mic hosted by the BSU on campus, and I performed all the time. In fact, like there became a point where people were calling me the Queen of Soulful because I was just always there. And that was kind of when I was like, okay, I really need to. When I heard people like kind of believe in me and like what I was doing, I was like, I really want to continue this, do more. And I had a roommate who was working. She was doing the same thing, but for Warner. But she was also a college marketing.
This is Chicago?
Like, in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And so I think living in Chicago, I was surrounded. And I was
dating access to those things.
Yeah, like I was dating someone who was like in the music business at the time. And then when I went to open mics, I would meet other people who were like low key, like coming up artists. Some of them now have you know done really cool things. And so I was just in that atmosphere of like being around a lot of artists. It was just too natural for me to like want to do those things. And so when I saw that post, I immediately decided to apply. Didn't hear back from them, so I like bothered them forever.
Really?
Yes, I was like, hey, I sent in this application. I do understand that I have no background in like any of this stuff, but I think that, you know, I have a lot to bring to the table. And then I went through the first, second, and third interview, and then they said that they wanted to bring me onto the role. And that's how I started my journey with Sony.
Wow.
And I worked there for a few years. So.
And this girl, let me tell you, she met celebrities, okay? And she's not wanting to like brag about it or like talk about it, but for me, like, if you did it, you did it. Like, no if, buts, or maybe. Like, it happened, you know? So you said that there's a certain way you felt like you had to interact with some of these celebrities because a lot of them kind of like, not a lot of them, but some of them do have like a chip on their shoulder and get annoyed with fan energy. Like,
yeah, I don't want to say any specific names.
No, that's fine.
Because Kimber, sit.
Sit. That's the one I can say.
Sit. Kimber, can you sit?
Does she know what you're saying?
She knows what I'm saying. She doesn't understand why I want her to sit right now. So yeah, her ears are open alert. So the question was, so I won't say any names just because
because you work for them and you have a
I still kind of low-key
want to integrate your
work with some of these people, so I'm not gonna say any names, but I will say in general, I think as a Black woman especially, navigating those spaces were weirdly hard. So I worked, and not just at Sony, because I would say like half of the stuff that I did with artists, I like did on my own, not really working with Sony. Like, sure, I had the business card saying, oh yeah, I work at Sony, but I wasn't getting that gig because I worked at Sony. I was just getting that gig because it was me, because I was hustling. So, but I think that people, you know, definitely, I don't know, definitely would sexualize me a lot. I worked with urban rappers, and I also worked with like Afrobeat artists, so predominantly Black men, really, because those two fields are dominated by Black men, whether African or Black American. And just definitely like generally like sexualized a lot, sometimes felt uncomfortable, even if I would tell them, you know, I'm a professional, this and that. A lot of times people would mistake me for a dancer. Like, a lot of times if I was somewhere, they'd ask, oh, are you a dancer? Like, I do not know how to dance, y'all.
Like for the music videos? Or
and stuff like that. And I just don't think I was taken very seriously. It was really hard to be taken seriously. And I feel like the successful girls in music typically are more like tomboyish-y, or
because they kind of feel like they have to do that, or just
I don't know, it might be, I think some of them naturally just are that way. And so those ones just tend to be more successful than the ones who are, you know, a bit more girlier and stuff, because I'm putting all this on because I like to, not because I'm trying to like
impress anyone,
the artist. Right. I don't want a celebrity boyfriend. I don't. I've seen what they've done in front, like,
yeah, no, Rihanna is the blueprint. She showed us, like, y'all don't need that.
Yeah, and you guys should see how many girls throw themselves. Anyways, I'm sure you guys are already familiar with this, but like just being in some of those areas, and again, most of this stuff wasn't even with Sony. Sony didn't really give me access to a lot of this.
Yeah, that was
but like
hustling.
Yeah, but when I worked like with Afrobeat artists and stuff like this, like being backstage or being at music videos and being at all these different places, you kind of see how they interact with people, and literally like imagine like just walking around and like people being obsessed with you. Like everywhere you go, they're just like so excited to be with you.
He's fully navigated his way here. Or
it's a girl, right? Yeah, she's a girl and she just wants to say
I don't know if you can see her on the camera.
But yeah, I don't think it's a good look. So I kind of like decided, I was like, what am I doing? Like I have a brain, and not that girls who are in music don't, but I'm like,
you knew
I can
your
like,
values,
yeah, I know my value.
Yeah.
I know that like I'm not just some like sex symbol. And so like I don't feel appreciated here. So I think I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna get this degree.
Oh, is that how you made the decision to come back?
It was partially because if something felt off. Music has always felt like home, but did not feel like home. Feeling like I was like a full-time groupie. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even in situations where they were paying me to be there, or whatever the case may be, I just felt like a full-time groupie.
It didn't feel right. Yeah, so at school, it would be kind of an awkward mix of people being like, oh, well, why are you going to med school if you want to do music? Or, girl, I hope that's just a side thing, like, So it was kind of weird, but I can see why you probably felt like, okay, I don't want to just be immersed in one, So my question for you is, now being a student and working you're trying to do more school, right? You're trying to work towards your PhD. And I think the cool thing about Zeph is the fact that she's not just full on, like, I can only do science, be in the lab 24/7. She still makes time to travel, and she still has other business endeavors that she would like to do on the side, and she is managing it now. She's not waiting until, when I get my degree and I'm successful, then I'll start looking into other things. Like, she's trying to go into those things now, and I think that's pretty cool. So my question is, how do you stay motivated to keep on balancing those things with, one, how much time and effort it takes to do those things, and also with probably people around you who find it a bit odd? How do you manage all of that?
So I think one thing, that was a lot. And thank you so much for all the kind words. Like, I feel like I don't have my life together, so hearing you be like, oh, she's that, I really don't. But thank you. And I think one thing that has really helped me that I didn't have the skill when I was in college, like in undergrad, is consolidating my friends. So I used to think that like all of my friends, because I vibed with people on a deep level in different places, whether it be like, in class, or whether it be like, during open mics, or, wherever the case may be. And I would want to make them my like everything friend, like my best friends. And just because you vibe with somebody heavily to the point where you're like, oh my God, that's my girl, like I would do anything for her, doesn't mean she has to go everywhere with you. And I learned this lesson the hard way, but I'm grateful that I learned it, because now, like, I mean, there are very few people that you meet that you can bring into every circle, and those are best friends. Like, those are friends that are like, you're like this, and exactly, and you can take them in any situation with you, and a lot of your interests aligned so much that they wouldn't feel odd in those different spaces. But there are some friends that you really do want to just keep, and only
where you met them and how you met them.
Exactly.
Like, party friend, just keep them there.
Yeah,
I get that.
And I would want them to do the same for me. Like, for example, there's some people that I've met at work that have tried to integrate me into their personal lives, and I don't feel, I'm like, I feel uncomfortable now. So I would like for you to consolidate me as your work friend, and let's keep it mutual that way. So I think that I'm still struggling with this, but I'm working on consolidating like my friends, because that helps me. So if I am like stuck with a problem, like I'm not gonna call like my girlfriend that I go out with and I'm like, I'm stuck on this physics problem.
Yeah, because she's just gonna be like, let's just go out.
Yeah,
and, like, that's
exactly.
not gonna help you get to where you're trying to get to.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I have a friend that I can hit for that. Or if I'm like, I want to go out this weekend, like some of my school friends really just don't do that. So, and I would feel uncomfortable and awkward going out with them as I've tried this. Some of them are cool though, and we do go out. All of them are cool, but consolidation is like really key in, you know, developing strong relationships in those different areas of yourself. It also kind of like deepens your own understanding of who you are.
That's true.
Because then you can
because you're not camouflaging all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you get to fully dive deep into whatever you're doing. You can be that authentic nerd in this scene, and then you can be, you know, this person here and that. And those sides of you kind of get to develop more, and you kind of get to like not create, but like discover your identity in those like deep moments in those different categories.
So do you have any final words or anything to say to the people watching this podcast?
I'm sorry about the dog.
No,
she's
pretty good.
Definitely very attached to me and in love. But no, I would say like enjoy the now. Oh, I feel like this is so cliche, but it's so true, and it's what I've been doing. And like just do it. Oh God, that also. Why am I being so cliche? Wow. Okay. I'm like, just do it. No, but for real, just do it, because like, oh my God, I remember like a couple years ago, or more than a couple years ago, I wanted to shave my head and I was taking forever. What? I know this is like kind of off topic, but I was taking forever to do this. Yeah. And then literally like 3 years later, I just one day randomly, like after I moved to New York, I was in Harlem one day and I saw a barbershop. I went in there and I shaved my entire fro off. Yes. And it was one of those things where it's like, I've been talking about doing this for years, but I've been waiting for the perfect moment. Like, that's not even a real thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, we wait for this perfect moment. The perfect moment is when you decide to go to the barbershop and do it. The perfect moment is when you decide to apply to grad school. And you know what I mean? Like, that's the perfect moment. And if you did and you don't get in, like, it's still okay. Like, you know what I mean? You still can continue to do that.
That's very true.
I think just do whatever you want to do. Like, the perfect moment is now to, you know, start making music or start writing things down or reaching out to people or getting help or starting that business that you always wanted to start. You know, I think we wait and we keep telling ourselves that we need things to align.
You need the ring light. You need the perfect camera. You need the just do it.
Yeah.
And even with this, like, I didn't have the ring light or any of this. Like, I literally just had my iPhone and my lamp. And I just did it. Yeah. And then now I'm like, okay, I have a camera, but I know there's still other things that I could have said. Let me not do this podcast yet. Like, let me wait till I get the perfect. You just gotta do it.
So you really just have to do things, put yourself out there. Same thing for even making friends and
that's true.
Consolidating your friends. Just start to do it, and you'll start to see how easy your life is. And you know, maybe like not telling your parents. You don't have to tell your parents everything. I'm not saying that you lie to them or keep everything away from them, but like if they're blocking you from things that you know you really desire and you want to do, and you have that freedom now as an adult, like just like do
and it's
that.
Not just parents, like even social media. You don't have to post every move like and you also don't have to go and start making moves in silence. Just don't say anything. Like just making moves in silence because these people who are these people
oh my God,
most people are not even thinking about you. Half the time people are thinking about themselves and their situations. Just do what you gotta do and don't tell anybody.
Everybody's looking at your post confused.
Like, what are the moves?
The people you thought a lot of times.
Go to the gym, just come back looking skinty. You don't need to put the coming for all y'all's boyfriends. No, you're not. You're really not.
Even Kimber is pressed over here. She's like, oh God.
She said, my bag, please. But yeah, no, that's good advice.
Yeah, so basically just like do what you gotta do, get it done.
Period.
And be successful at the end of the day, whatever that means to you. You don't have to be a billionaire to be successful. You don't even have to be a millionaire to be successful. You could be making $60K if you're doing what you need to do and you're happy, you're eating what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the happiness that really matters. It's the happiness for me.
Like, you're saying everything at the
for real, it is the happiness for me. Like, definitely just be happy, be joyful, and like try and be cheerful too, because like that's one thing I try to remind myself to, like,
not be better.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I have something really important to say.
Give it to them.
I think that if you admire somebody, tell them. Because oftentimes, especially as women, and listen up, come close, because this is Zoom. Let's zoom in.
I can't zoom in, but I'm sitting here.
But especially for women, I feel like if you admire somebody, especially if you admire another young woman, tell her, because oftentimes when we admire somebody and we don't tell them, it turns into envy. And you start wondering.
I was thinking about this morning.
Oh, you were?
Yes, on the rail they were talking about that.
Oh,
that's
wow,
crazy.
I didn't even know that. But I was thinking about this for a while now, because a lot of times you see somebody and you're like, oh my god, she's so cute, oh my god, she has that, she has this, and then after a while you start realizing, like, I don't really like her, but I don't really know why I don't like her.
Oh my god.
And you're like, she is like everything I wanted, like she's doing a lot of the stuff I want to do. You're like, why don't I mess with her? And it's because you never gave her those compliments, you held them in, and that fueled into a different energy, you know what I mean? That good that you were supposed to give out just like stayed in here. So I think if you see another girl and her hair looks cute and her makeup looks cute, or like you really like what she's doing in her life, like, you know that when you get a compliment, a random compliment, it makes your day. So make her day and then release that. Don't hold on to it so it can turn into envy. So
I really like that.
Yeah, I think it's really, really big. Yeah.
That's crazy, especially with social media. That's a bigger one now. Like, you be jealous of people you don't even know.
Right, just comment and be like, oh my god, you're cute. Like, because that's what you're thinking, and then eventually you hold on to that and you're like, oh, she's not even cute. But hold on, you do think she's cute.
This is also another conversation, but like, literally, sometimes if you're going through a low period, because that's life, some days are high, some days are low, you can sometimes just mute whoever it is. Maybe if there's something you're going for, and yes, you've already congratulated that person, you know, you're happy for them, but you don't want to be reminded every day of what you don't have yet. You can mute them, you can unfollow or whatever, what you have to do in the moment, or just deactivate your social media. Yesterday, Mark Zuckerberg made it easy, follow us. Mass deactivation.
Yo, I have something to say about that, but I'm gonna stop because we don't go.
We're gonna keep on going. Yeah. But this was great. Guys, make sure to follow Zeph on social media.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have her back again, period. So
yeah,
this is just the first one, and I really appreciate you.
Thank you. This is fun.
This was really fun.
Sorry about the dog. She's just like,
she'll be fine. She made a feature into the first one. Guinea pig, actually guinea dog episode. But yeah, make sure to follow her, follow me. I assume you're already following me, and subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'll be posting these videos there and also soon on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you guys. I'm playing.
I don't know. I'm a YouTuber today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.